Hello, welcome to JavaScript tutorial, chapter 20, part 2, JavaScript Events, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we are going to learn about the events in JavaScript. So events, OnLoad, OnMouseOver, OnMouseOut, OnDblClick. These are the few events right now I'm going to show you in this session. In the last session we saw some of the events. So without wasting much time, let me jump into the demo. That is first event. What I'm going to show right now is OnLoad. So here comes my um, HTML page or Visual Studio Code. So what I need to do is first okay let me take a content telling like enter your name. Okay, then let me take input type text, then let me add a id name is txt name. Okay, and now let me add input type button. So after that, let me take a value to this button. So the value will be submit. So now what I need to do is I need to write a bit of JavaScript here. So right now we are learning about on load. So what happens, what should happen right now is once this web page is loaded, what I need to do is I need to uh, I need to push a message to this input type text control. So to this body tag, what I'm going to do is I need to attach a on load event. So this is going to call a function. Okay, it's going to call a function on load. This is we are calling this function. So now what I'm going to do is function call function. I'm writing a definition to this function right now. Okay, what it has to do is this function, it has to identify this control, and to this control I'm going to assign a value that is hello world. Once the page loads, it has to execute this function. What is the function going to do? It's going to identify this element and it's going to attach a value to it. So how can I identify this element with the help of this id? So let me call the document object document.get element by id, document.get element by id name is text name. Okay, to this I'm going to attach a value. Okay, and this value is hello world. Okay, now what's happening right now is I'm having a function that is call function. Okay, to this call function, what I've done is I've attached this call function to the onload event. Okay, what happens once the web page loads, in the sense this body loads, what it has to do is this function, it has to identify this element with the id text name and it has to attach a value hello world to it. So let us push this page to the browser, and here is my HTML page. So once I double click on that, it takes me to the Chrome browser. There you can observe very clearly to this text box we have got the content as hello world. So when did it happen? It happened once the web page loaded. Okay, web page in the sense the body loaded, whatever the content present inside the body will execute, okay, as soon as the page is pushed to the browser. So what I'm telling in my code is on once the body is executed, on the load of that body, call this function. This function has to identify this control with the help of this id and it's going to attach a value hello world. So now let me go back and let me refresh again. You can observe hello world is present within the text box because we have written that type of code to the onload event. Okay, this is called onload. event and how it works. And right now let me show you on mouse over what will happen. And it's a event mouse over. So let me go back here, and what I'll do, let me remove this whatever present here, and now after that input type text and the ID text name, and let me I'm having a button, so let me give a name to this button. It looks good, and the name is button, and let me add a ID to this. ID is also the button itself. So now what I need to do is to this mouse on mouse over, I want to show you on mouse over event. So I'm calling that on mouse over to this button. Okay, and I'm attaching a function. Let me name the function as call function itself. Okay, and to this call function I need to take that particular element's ID, so I have to use this keyword. It represents particular to that button. Okay, and what I need to do, once I mouse over on this function, I need to call this function. What is this function going to do? This function I'm going to tell like uh, document dot get element by ID, then and you change the background of that background to some color. I'll take it as red. Control S. Now let me go back and let me execute this. You can observe right now we have some content here. This is some text box. Now you can observe very clearly. Let me refresh. Okay, now this is a text box and this is a button. To this button, now as soon as I mouse over on that, the background color is changing to red. So this is actually called the mouse over event. On mouse over, it's changing the background color to red because I've attached here, I've told in my function, once the user mouse over on the button, call this function has to do the work. What the job of this function is to change the background color to red. Now let me give it to pink. You can observe it's changing the color to pink on mouse over. Now let me show you other event, that is on mouse out. Okay, on mouse out what should happen? So let me go back to my Visual Studio Code and let me change the function, that is on mouse out. Okay, so I need to have both, that is on mouse over and mouse over on mouse out. Sorry for that. Yeah, it's here on mouse out. I need to attach another function. So on mouse out what should happen is I need to call another function. Let me tell the function name as clear color. Okay, mouse over, and this one let me tell it's clear color. So I need to write two functions here. I've already written one function, so let me write another function, that is clear color function. Both takes ID as parameter. Okay, on the clear color it has to identify the particular ID, and what it has to do is, okay, it has to change the background color to green. Let me go back and let me refresh. Okay, now mouse over, it gives the color green, and when I remove back on mouse out, it is changing the color to pink. On mouse over the color is pink, on mouse out the color is green. This is how on mouse and on mouse out and mouse over works. Okay, and the last thing is on double click. Okay, this is an event on double click. What should happen? So now let me go back to Visual Studio Code and let me write a piece of code here. Okay, so I'll remove this. Okay, now let me remove the events what I wrote for last session, last example. that is OnMouseOut. Control S. Now I'm going to remove this. Okay, now I need to on double click. I need to call a function. The function name, let me call it as call function. Okay, on double click, call this function. Now what I'm going to do is, once user clicks, now let me go back and let me refresh. Here we'll get a button. So once user, okay, let me remove the sentence present there. Yes, now I have a button. Once I double click on that, I should get a pop-up message. So how to attach that event? It's very simple. We have a event handler on double click. To that I'm attached a function that is call function. I have to write a definition for that. It's very simple. Function, it's call function. So I need to tell alert message telling like you double clicked, the button. Okay, now I do control S. Let me go back and let me refresh. Now you can observe, now I'll click it once. Now we are not getting any message. When I double click, I'm getting a message like you double click the button. I click once, I'm not getting anything. When I double click on that, you double click the button. This is a message what I've attached here to the function which is to be called. Okay, call function. So in the sense, this is how, if you want to double click, if you double click on some HTML element, then some event has to happen. So who is going to handle that event? This on double click event is going to handle, and to that we have to attach a function. In that function we have to define like what should happen once the user clicks on the HTML element, double clicks on the HTML element. That's what we are defined here. This is what we learned in the last two sessions. We learned about few events present in JavaScript, and still we have more events present in JavaScript, and I hope I've I've made you understand the basics of events, okay, in the last two sessions. And finally, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Ankpro Training. You can also like our Facebook page visiting this URL. You can also follow us on Twitter for the reference of our websites. We are on LinkedIn too. Last but not the least, please don't forget to give the feedback.